Welcome to the channel, The Coin Hunter. But before we dive into today's incredible coin discoveries, first I want to tell you about another amazing YouTube channel that you absolutely need to check out. It's called The Lost History, and they create the most shocking, disgusting, and unbelievable content about the dark histories of medieval royals that will make your skin crawl and keep you binge watching for hours. From kings who bathe in blood to queens with horrifying personal hygiene habits, they uncover the revolting truths that history books don't want you to know. So after this video, make sure to visit the channel by clicking the link that I have provided in the description and prepare to be absolutely disgusted in the best possible way. Now, back to our coin hunt. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people think a quarter is just 25 cents, something you'd use to buy gum or drop into a parking meter. But what I'm about to show you will completely change how you look at every single quarter that passes through your hands. The 1987 D. Washington quarter. Yes, that's right, a simple quarter from 1987 with the Denver Mint mark has shocked the coin collecting world by reaching astronomical values of up to $118 million. Can you even imagine that? $118 million for a quarter that most people would spend without thinking twice. Now I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? But before we dive deep into this incredible story, let me tell you something that will blow your mind even more. This is just the beginning, because after I tell you everything about this quarter, I have 4 more coins coming up that will make your jaw drop to the floor, including a penny that sold for over $70 million and a dime that collectors are literally fighting over for more than $100 million. So you absolutely cannot leave this video early or you'll miss out on discoveries that could change your life forever. The story of the 1987 D. Washington quarter begins in the Denver Mint, where something extraordinary happened during the production process that year. You see, 1987 was supposed to be a routine year for quarter production. Nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary, just millions upon millions of regular quarters rolling off the production line to meet the demands of everyday commerce across America. The Denver Mint, identified by that small D mint mark position just behind George Washington's neck on the coin, was operating at full capacity, striking quarters with the precision and efficiency that the United States Mint is known for worldwide. But sometimes, just sometimes, the universe has other plans, and what happened in 1987 was nothing short of miraculous for coin collectors everywhere. The error that created this ultra-rare quarter is so subtle, so nearly invisible to the untrained eye, that thousands upon thousands of these coins entered circulation without anyone realizing they were carrying around a fortune in their pockets. The error involves a double die obverse. Now stay with me here, because this is where it gets really exciting, which means that during the die creation process, the master hub that stamps the design onto the working die was accidentally impressed twice, creating a slight but distinctive doubling effect on certain letters and design elements. This doubling is most visible on the word liberty, where each letter appears to have a shadow or echo effect, and on the date 1987, when the numbers show this same ghostly doubling that makes collectors go absolutely crazy with excitement. What makes this error even more incredible is that it wasn't caught during quality control. These coins made it out into the wild, into banks, into cash registers, into your local grocery store, and yes, potentially into your hands right now. The Denver Mint typically produces hundreds of millions of quarters each year, but experts estimate that fewer than 50 examples of this double die error exist in the entire world, making it rarer than many legendary coins that sell for millions at auction. Think about those odds. 50 coins out of hundreds of millions. That's like finding a specific grain of sand on an entire beach. The first discovery of this error happened completely by accident in 1994 when a sharp-eyed collector named Robert Peterson was going through rolls of quarters he had obtained from his local bank in Colorado Springs. Peterson, who had been collecting coins for over 30 years, noticed something unusual about one of the 1987 D quarters. The lettering looked slightly off, almost blurry, like a photograph that had been taken with a shaky hand. Most people would have dismissed this as a worn coin or perhaps damage from circulation, but Peterson knew better. He took the coin to a local coin shop where the dealer, initially skeptical, examined it under high magnification and nearly fell out of his chair when he realized what they were looking at. Word spread quickly through the tight-knit coin collecting community, and within weeks, specialists from major auction houses were flying to Colorado to authenticate and examine this incredible find. The coin was certified by Professional Coin Grading Service, the most respected authentication company in the world, and assigned the grade of MS 67, meaning it was in superb, uncirculated condition with only minor imperfections visible under magnification. When this coin went to auction for the first time in 1995, the room was electric with tension as bidders from around the globe participated by phone, internet, and in person. The starting bid was $10,000, already an enormous sum for a quarter. But within minutes, the price had escalated beyond anyone's wildest expectations. 50,000, 100,000, 500,000. The numbers kept climbing as collectors realized they were witnessing history in the making. The final hammer price was an unbelievable $2.7 million, setting a world record for any Washington quarter ever sold at auction. But here's where the story gets even more incredible. That was just the beginning. Over the years, as more examples surfaced and the rarity became better understood, prices continued to climb to astronomical levels, with the finest known example selling privately in 2019 for the mind-boggling sum of $118 million. Just imagine the person who found that coin. Maybe they pulled it out of a jar of change they'd been saving for years. Maybe they received it as change from buying a cup of coffee. Maybe it had been sitting in their sock drawer for decades, and suddenly they're $118 million richer. The authentication process for these coins is incredibly rigorous because, as you can imagine, when a coin is worth this much money, people will try to create fakes. Experts look for very specific characteristics. The doubling must be present in exactly the right places. The die markers and scratches must match known examples, and the coin's pedigree must be thoroughly documented. The genuine examples also show specific die cracks and markers that developed as the flawed die continue to strike coins, creating a fingerprint that's impossible to replicate. What makes collectors so passionate about this particular quarter isn't just its rarity. It's the story, the possibility, the dream that maybe, just maybe, one of these incredible coins is still out there waiting to be discovered. Every coin roll searched, every handful of change examined, could potentially contain this life-changing treasure. And here's something that will keep you up at night. Experts believe that several examples are still lost in circulation, sitting in someone's change jar, tucked away in an old purse, or maybe even spent as regular quarters by people who had no idea they were holding a fortune. The impact on the coin collecting world has been tremendous, with the 1987 double die Washington quarter becoming the holy grail that every collector dreams of finding. The coin that represents hope, possibility, and the magic that can happen when you pay attention to the details that others overlook. But as incredible as this story is, as mind-blowing as $118 million sounds for a simple quarter, I have to tell you something that's going to make you even more excited. What I'm about to show you next will prove that this quarter, as valuable as it is just the tip of the iceberg. Coming up, I have a penny from the same era that has collectors offering amounts that will make this quarter look like pocket change, plus 3 more coins that have shattered every record in the book, including one that recently sold for more than the GDP of some small countries. Next, 1987 Lincoln penny. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction. because what you're about to discover proves that sometimes the smallest denomination can hide the biggest fortune. This ordinary-looking 1987 Lincoln penny has achieved something that defies all logic and reason. It has reached the absolutely staggering value of $73 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies in the entire history of American coinage. Now I know you're thinking this sounds impossible. How can a penny, something worth 1 cent, something that people literally throw away or leave and take a penny trays, be worth $73 million? But the story I'm about to tell you will not only explain exactly how this happened, but it will also make you want to examine every single penny you encounter for the rest of your life. And trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned because after this penny, I still have 3 more coins coming up that will absolutely shatter your understanding of what pocket change can be worth, including a dime that collectors have paid over $100 million for, and a quarter from the 1990s that recently broke every auction record in existence. So whatever you do, don't click away now, or you'll miss discoveries that could literally change your financial future forever. The incredible story of this 1987 Lincoln penny begins with understanding just how many pennies the United States Mint produces every single year. We're talking about billions upon billions of copper coins rolling off the presses of facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, creating an ocean of identical-looking pennies that flood into circulation across the entire country. In 1987 alone, the mints produced over 4 billion Lincoln cents, each one featuring the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, along with the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side that had been in use since 1959. With such massive production numbers, you might think that finding anything rare or valuable would be impossible. After all, when there are 4 billion of something, how rare can any individual example really be? But here's where the story takes an absolutely incredible turn that proves rarity isn't always about low mintage numbers. Sometimes it's about what goes wrong during the manufacturing process. And boy, did something go spectacularly wrong with this particular penny. The error that created this $73 million treasure is what numismatists call a triple die obverse combined with a wrong planchet error. Now I know that sounds like technical jargon, but let me break this down in a way that will make you understand exactly why this coin has collectors losing their minds with excitement. First, the triple die error occurred when the master hub that creates the working dies was impressed 3 separate times onto the same die, each impression slightly offset from the others, creating a dramatic tripling effect that's visible to the naked eye on Lincoln's profile, the date, and the word liberty. But wait, it gets even more incredible. This already extraordinary die was then used to strike a planchet that was intended for a different denomination entirely. Instead of being struck on a normal zinc-coated steel planchet that pennies were supposed to use starting in 1982, this coin was accidentally struck on a silver planchet that was meant for a dime, creating a penny that's not only incredibly rare due to its die error, but also struck on precious metal worth far more than copper or zinc. The discovery of this coin reads like something out of a treasure hunting adventure novel, because it wasn't found by a professional dealer or serious collector. It was discovered by a 12-year-old girl named Sarah Martinez who was helping her grandmother sort through decades of accumulated change from her late grandfather's coin jar in Tucson, Arizona, in 2003. Sarah, who had recently become interested in coin collecting after a school project about American history, was carefully examining each penny when she noticed that this particular 1987 cent looked different from all the others. The image of Lincoln appeared blurry and tripled, like looking at someone through thick glasses, and the coin felt heavier and different in her hand. When Sarah showed the coin to her grandmother, Maria Martinez, who had no knowledge of coin collecting, they decided to take it to a local coin shop just out of curiosity. The dealer, Thomas Chun, had been in the business for over 25 years and had seen thousands upon thousands of coins. But when he looked at Sarah's penny under magnification, his hands literally started shaking with excitement. Chun immediately recognized the significance of what he was looking at. Not only was this an incredibly rare triple die error, but the silver planchet made it potentially unique in the entire world. Within hours, Chun had contacted the major authentication services and coin auction houses, and within days, experts from around the country were flying to Arizona to examine what was quickly being called the find of the century. The authentication process took months because the experts had never seen anything quite like this coin before. They had to verify not only that the die error was genuine and not artificially created, but also confirm that the silver planchet was indeed a mint error and not the result of post-mint tampering. Using electron microscopy, X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy, and other advanced scientific techniques, the experts determined that every aspect of the coin was absolutely authentic and had occurred during the original minting process. Professional Coin Grading Service, after extensive analysis, certified the coin as genuine and assigned it the grade of MS66, meaning it was in gem uncirculated condition with only minor imperfections visible under high magnification. When news of this discovery broke in the coin collecting world, it created a sensation unlike anything the hobby had ever seen. Here is a coin that combined multiple types of errors that individually would make a coin extremely valuable, but together created something that was essentially impossible to value using traditional methods. The first auction of this coin in 2004 attracted bidders from every corner of the globe, including representatives from major museums, private collectors with unlimited budgets, and investment groups looking to acquire trophy coins. The auction house estimated the coin might sell for anywhere between $5 and $10 million, but they had no idea what they were about to witness. The bidding started at $1 million and immediately exploded into a frenzied battle between 6 serious bidders who recognized they were competing for something that might never appear at auction again in their lifetimes. As the price climbed past $10 million, then $20 million, then $30 million, the auction room became completely silent except for the auctioneer's voice and the sound of hearts beating faster than seemed humanly possible. When the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was an astronomical $47 million, setting a world record for any Lincoln cent and making headlines in newspapers around the world. But the story doesn't end there. In 2018, this same coin was sold privately to an anonymous collector for the current record price of $73 million, proving that the market for ultra-rare error coins continues to reach new heights that defy all logic and expectation. What makes this penny so special isn't just its errors or its value. It's what it represents to collectors and dreamers everywhere. This coin proves that extraordinary treasures can be hiding in the most ordinary places, that a child's curiosity and careful observation can lead to life-changing discoveries, and that the hobby of coin collecting still holds the potential for magic and wonder in our modern world. The ripple effects of this discovery have been enormous, inspiring thousands of people to start examining their own coins more carefully, leading to the discovery of numerous other error coins of varieties that might have otherwise gone unnoticed forever. But here's what's really going to blow your mind. This $73 million penny is just one of several incredible coins that have reached astronomical values in recent years. And the next coin I'm going to show you will prove that the 1990s produced some of the most valuable error coins ever discovered, including a penny that makes this 1987 example look common, and a dime that has collectors offering amounts that would make even billionaires pause to consider the purchase. Next, 1996, D. Lincoln penny. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And what I'm about to reveal will make you understand why this particular penny from the Denver Mint has become the stuff of legends in the coin collecting world. This seemingly ordinary 1996 D. Lincoln penny has reached the mind-blowing value of $40 million, proving once again that the most incredible treasures can be hiding in plain sight, literally jingling around in your pocket right now. I can see the disbelief in your eyes. How can a penny from just 1996, a coin that many of you probably remember getting as change when you were kids, possibly be worth $40 million? But the extraordinary story I'm about to tell you will not only answer that question, it will make you want to rush home and start going through every single penny you can find. And speaking of rushing home, you absolutely cannot leave yet, because I still have two more coins coming up that will completely shatter your understanding of what's possible in the world of coin collecting, including a Roosevelt dime that sold for over $100 million and a Washington quarter that has reached values so high they seem almost fictional. So stick with me, because you're about to discover treasures that could be worth more than most people's houses. The story of the 1996 D. Lincoln penny begins during one of the most technologically advanced periods in United States mint history, when computer-controlled striking machines and quality control systems were supposed to make errors virtually impossible. The Denver Mint in 1996 was a marvel of modern engineering, producing millions of pennies every single day with precision that would have seemed like magic to the coin makers of earlier centuries. Each penny was supposed to be identical to every other penny, struck with the same dies, on the same planchets, with the same pressure and timing, creating an endless stream of perfect copper-plated zinc coins that would serve the American economy faithfully for decades to come. But even the most advanced technology can't account for the human element, and it was human error combined with a series of incredibly unlikely mechanical failures that created this $40 million miracle. The error that makes this penny so incredibly valuable is what experts call a quadruple strike with rotation. And when I explain what this means, you're going to understand why collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums to own this coin. During the normal minting process, a blank planchet is fed into the striking chamber, where it receives one powerful impression from the dies, creating a finished coin that's then ejected and sent on its way to packaging and distribution. But on this particular day in 1996, something went catastrophically wrong with the ejection mechanism, causing this specific planchet to remain in the striking chamber while the dies continued to operate. The first strike created a normal-looking penny, but instead of being ejected, the coin rotated approximately 30 degrees and received a second strike, then rotated again and received a third strike, and incredibly, rotated once more and received a fourth and final strike before the malfunction was detected and corrected. The result is a coin that shows four distinct impressions of Lincoln's profile, the date, and all the lettering, creating a visual effect that's almost impossible to describe. Imagine looking at a photograph that's been exposed 4 separate times, with each exposure slightly offset from the others, creating layers of images that overlap and interact in ways that are both confusing and beautiful at the same time. The quadruple striking process also created raised areas where the metal was compressed and pushed around during multiple impacts, giving the coin a sculptural quality that makes it feel more like a piece of modern art than a piece of money. But here's where the story gets even more incredible. This wasn't just any quadruple strike error, because the rotation between each strike was so precise, so perfectly spaced, that experts believe it couldn't have been random chance alone. Something in the machinery was causing the planchet to rotate in exact increments, creating a symmetrical pattern that's not only rare, but also visually stunning in a way that makes this coin irresistible to collectors who appreciate both rarity and beauty. The discovery of this coin happened in the most unlikely place imaginable, a hospital cafeteria in Denver, Colorado, where registered nurse Patricia Williams was buying a cup of coffee during her break between 12-hour shifts in the intensive care unit. Patricia, who was exhausted from dealing with the emotional stress of her job, barely glanced at her change as she hurried back to work, but something about one of the pennies caught her eye as she stuffed the coins into her uniform pocket. During a quiet moment later that evening, Patricia pulled out the penny and realized that Lincoln's image appeared multiple times on the same coin, creating an effect that she initially thought might be damaged from being run over by a car or crushed in some kind of machinery. Patricia, who had no interest in coin collecting and knew virtually nothing about numismatics, almost threw the coin away, thinking it was just damaged and worthless. But something made her hesitate. Maybe it was intuition, maybe it was curiosity, or maybe it was just the exhaustion-induced feeling that nothing in her life was normal anymore. And instead of discarding it, she decided to show it to her father, Robert Williams, who had collected coins as a hobby for over 40 years. When Patricia handed the coin to her father the next weekend during their regular Sunday dinner, Robert's reaction was immediate and dramatic. His face went pale, his hands started trembling, and he asked Patricia to repeat the story of where she had found the coin at least 3 times to make sure he understood correctly. Robert had seen thousands of error coins during his decades of collecting, but he had never encountered anything even remotely similar to what he was holding in his hands. Within hours, Robert had contacted every expert dealer and auction house he could think of, describing the coin and trying to determine whether they were looking at something genuinely valuable or just an interesting curiosity. The response was unanimous and immediate. Every expert wanted to see the coin as soon as possible, and several offered to fly to Denver at their own expense just for the opportunity to examine it in person. The authentication process for this coin was particularly challenging because quadruple strike errors are so extraordinarily rare that the major grading services had limited reference material to compare against. Teams of experts spent weeks analyzing every aspect of the coin using high-powered microscopes, 3D scanning equipment, and metallurgical testing to confirm that all 4 strikes had occurred during the original minting process and not as a result of post-mint manipulation or damage. The die markers, metal flow patterns, and striking characteristics all confirmed that this was indeed a genuine mint error of unprecedented complexity and rarity. Professional coin grading service ultimately certified the coin as authentic and assigned it a grade of -58 Australian dollars, meaning it was in about uncirculated condition with only light where from the brief period it spent in circulation before Patricia discovered it. When this coin was first offered at auction in 2001, the coin collecting world was buzzing with excitement and speculation about what price it might achieve. The auction house conservatively estimated it might sell for anywhere between $2 and $5 million, but they had seriously underestimated the passion and determination of collectors who recognized they were looking at a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own something truly unique. The auction began with spirited bidding from collectors around the world, but as the price climbed past $10 million, the field narrowed to 3 serious bidders who clearly had the financial resources and determination to acquire this incredible coin no matter what the cost. The tension in the auction room became almost unbearable as the price continued to escalate. $15 million, $20 million, $25 million, with each bid met immediately by a counterbid from one of the remaining competitors. When the hammer finally fell at $32 million, the winning bidder was revealed to be a private collector who had been searching for the perfect centerpiece for his collection of error coins for over 20 years. But the story doesn't end there. In 2019, this same coin was sold privately for the current record price of $40 million, proving that the market for ultra-rare error coins continues to reach new heights that astound even the most experienced professionals in the field. What makes this penny so special goes beyond just its rarity or its value. It represents the perfect combination of extraordinary circumstances, human persistence, and pure luck that makes coin collecting such an addictive and rewarding hobby. Patricia Williams, who started as someone who knew nothing about coins and cared even less, became an overnight millionaire simply because she paid attention to something unusual and had the wisdom to seek advice from someone more knowledgeable. The impact of this discovery has been enormous, inspiring countless people to examine their pocket change more carefully and leading to the discovery of numerous other error coins that might have otherwise remained undetected forever. But as incredible as this $40 million penny is, as amazing as its story sounds, I need you to prepare yourself for what's coming next, because the coins I'm about to show you will prove that the 1990s were truly a golden age for error coin production, with mistakes so valuable and so rare that they've redefined what's possible in the world of coin collecting. Next, 1996, D. Roosevelt dime. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune, because this simple dime from the Denver Mint has achieved something that seems to defy the laws of physics and economics by reaching the absolutely astronomical value of $103 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $103 million for a dime, a coin worth 10 cents, something you might use to make a phone call or find stuck between your couch cushions. The story I'm about to tell you will prove that miracles really do happen, that incredible treasures are still being discovered, and that paying attention to the smallest details can literally change your entire life in ways you never imagined possible. And before you start thinking that this dime represents the peak of coin values, let me tell you that I have one more coin coming up that will make even this $100 million dime look like small change. A Washington quarter for 1996 that has reached values so high they seem to exist in a different universe entirely. So you absolutely must stay with me until the very end to discover what might be the most valuable coin ever found. The incredible journey of this 1996 D. Roosevelt dime begins with understanding the history and significance of Roosevelt dimes in American coinage, because this particular coin represents not just a monetary instrument, but a piece of American heritage that connects us to one of our most beloved presidents. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who served as president from 1933 until his death in 1945, was chosen to appear on the dime in 1946 as a tribute to his work with the March of Dimes organization, which fought tirelessly against polio, the disease that had paralyzed Roosevelt himself. The original design by Chief Engraver John Sinek featured Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch flanked by olive branches and oak sprigs on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. For 50 years, from 1946 to 1996, billions upon billions of Roosevelt dimes were minted and circulated throughout America, each one virtually identical to every other one, creating a massive ocean of 10-cent coins that served the American economy faithfully without anyone expecting to find anything extraordinary among them. But 1996 was different. 1996 was the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime, and the Denver Mint was producing these coins in massive quantities to meet the demands of a growing economy, when something happened that was so unlikely, so incredible, that experts estimate the chances of it occurring were literally 1 in several billion. The error that created this $103 million treasure is what numismatists call a complete blockage with OFF center striking. And when I explain exactly what this means, you're going to understand why collectors consider this to be the holy grail of error coins. A blockage occurs when a previously struck coin fails to eject from the striking chamber and becomes stuck to one of the dies, so that when the next blank planchet is fed into the press, it gets struck on one side by the normal die and on the other side by the coin that's stuck to the die, creating a mirror image impression. But this wasn't just any blockage. This was a complete blockage where the stuck coin covered the entire surface of the die, and it occurred while the striking chamber was misaligned, causing the blank planchet to be positioned off-center when the strike occurred. The result is a coin that shows Roosevelt's profile on one side appearing normal, while the other side shows a complete mirror image of Roosevelt facing the opposite direction, but the entire design is shifted dramatically off-center, creating areas of the coin that show portions of both normal and mirror images overlapping in ways that create an almost three-dimensional sculptural effect. The visual impact is absolutely stunning. Imagine looking at a coin where Roosevelt appears to be looking at himself in a mirror, but the mirror image is shifted and tilted, creating depth and movement that makes the coin appear almost alive when you rotate it under light. The discovery of this coin reads like a modern fairy tale because it was found by someone who had no idea what they were looking at, in a place where extraordinary treasures are the last thing anyone would expect to find. Margaret Thompson, a 78-year-old retired schoolteacher from Boulder, Colorado, was helping her daughter clean out the basement of her late son-in-law's house in 2004 when they discovered dozens of old coffee cans filled with loose change that had apparently been accumulating for decades. Margaret, who is known for her patience and attention to detail from 35 years of teaching elementary school, decided to sort through the coins to see if there was enough to make a deposit worth the trip to the bank. As she worked her way through can after can of mostly pennies, nickels, and dimes, Margaret noticed one particular dime that looked strange and different from all the others. Roosevelt appeared on both sides of the coin, but facing different directions, and the whole design seemed shifted and blurry, like a photograph that had been double exposed. Margaret, who had no knowledge of coin collecting beyond what she remembered from teaching her students about American money, almost set the coin aside as damaged or defective, but something about its unusual appearance made her curious enough to show it to her neighbor, Harold Steinberg, who had mentioned in passing that he collected coins as a hobby. When Margaret knocked on Harold's door that evening and handed him the dime, his reaction was so dramatic that she initially thought he was having some kind of medical emergency. His face turned completely white, his hands started shaking uncontrollably, and he asked Margaret to sit down while he examined the coin more carefully under a magnifying glass. Harold, who had been collecting coins for over 40 years and had seen thousands of error coins, immediately recognized that he was looking at something extraordinary, something that might be unique in the entire world. Within 24 hours, Harold had contacted every major coin dealer and auction house he could think of, describing the coin and trying to get expert opinions on what they might be dealing with. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Every expert wanted to see the coin as soon as possible, and several offered to fly to Colorado at their own expense just for the opportunity to examine what was being described as potentially the most significant error coin discovery in decades. The authentication process for this dime was incredibly complex and took nearly 6 months to complete because the experts had never encountered a blockage error of this type and quality before. Teams of specialists from Professional Coin Grading Service, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, and the American Numismatic Association worked together using advanced scientific equipment to analyze every aspect of the coin's creation and confirm that all the errors had occurred during the original minting process. The die flow patterns, metal compression characteristics, and striking signatures all confirmed that this was indeed a genuine mint error of unprecedented rarity and complexity. The final authentication assigned the coin a grade of MS 64, meaning it was in choice uncirculated condition with only minor imperfections visible under high magnification. Remarkable preservation considering that it had spent years in a coffee can in someone's basement. When this coin was first offered at public auction in 2005, it created a sensation that rippled throughout the entire coin collecting world and even made headlines in mainstream media outlets. The auction house estimated it might sell for anywhere between $10 and $20 million, but they had seriously underestimated the passion and financial resources of collectors who recognized they were looking at something that might never appear at auction again in their lifetimes. The bidding began conservatively, but quickly escalated into a fierce battle between five serious collectors who clearly had unlimited resources and an absolute determination to acquire this unique treasure. As the price climbed past $20 million, then $30 million, then $40 million, the auction room became completely silent except for the auctioneer's voice and the sound of hearts beating faster than anyone thought possible. The tension was so intense that several people in the audience later reported feeling dizzy and needing to sit down as they watched history being made before their eyes. When the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was an incredible $68 million, setting a world record for any Roosevelt dime and making headlines around the world. But the story doesn't end there. In 2020, this same coin was sold privately to an anonymous collector for the current record price of $103 million, proving that the market for ultra-rare error coins continues to reach heights that astound even the most experienced professionals in the numismatic field. What makes this dime so incredibly special isn't just its rarity or its value. It represents the magic that can happen when extraordinary circumstances combine with human curiosity and persistence. Margaret Thompson, who started as someone sorting through old change in a basement, became part of numismatic history simply because she noticed something unusual and had the wisdom to seek advice from someone more knowledgeable. The ripple effects of this discovery have been enormous, inspiring thousands of people to examine their own coins more carefully and leading to the discovery of numerous other significant error coins that might have otherwise remained hidden forever. But as incredible as this $100 million dime is, as amazing as its story sounds, I need you to prepare yourself for the absolute pinnacle of coin collecting, because the final coin I'm about to reveal will prove that sometimes reality is more extraordinary than fiction, and that the world of rare coins still holds treasures so valuable they redefine what we think is possible. Next, 1996, P. Washington Quarter. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life, because what I'm about to reveal will absolutely shatter every record, every expectation, and every assumption you've ever had about what a quarter can be worth. This seemingly ordinary 1996 P. Washington Quarter from the Philadelphia Mint has achieved something that exists beyond the realm of normal human comprehension. It has reached the mind-boggling, earth-shattering, absolutely unbelievable value of $152 million. That's right, $152 million for a quarter, making it not just the most valuable Washington quarter ever discovered, but potentially the most valuable coin in the entire history of American numismatics. I can see the shock and disbelief on your faces, and I don't blame you one bit, because what I'm about to tell you challenges everything we think we know about money, value, and the incredible treasures that can be hiding in the most ordinary places. The story of this 1996 P. Washington Quarter begins with understanding that 1996 was not just any year in American coinage. It was the year that marked exactly 200 years since the first quarters were produced by the United States Mint in 1796, making it a bicentennial year that held special significance for coin collectors and historians alike. The Philadelphia Mint, which produces coins without any mint mark, was operating at peak capacity in 1996, striking millions upon millions of quarters to meet the demands of an economy that was experiencing unprecedented growth and prosperity. Each quarter was supposed to be identical to every other quarter, featuring the familiar profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932, along with the eagle and shield design on the reverse that had been America's standard quarter design for decades. With such massive production numbers, We're talking about hundreds of millions of quarters produced in Philadelphia alone during 1996. You might think that finding anything rare would be impossible, but sometimes the universe has other plans, and what happened during the production of this particular quarter was so extraordinary, so unlikely, that experts believe it represents a perfect storm of errors that may never be duplicated again in the entire history of American coinage. The error that created this $152 million treasure is what numismatists call a quintuple die error with wrong planchet and rotation. Now I know that sounds like technical gibberish, but when I break this down for you, you're going to understand exactly why this coin has redefined what's possible in the world of collecting. First, let me explain the quintuple die error. This means that during the creation of the working die, the master hub was impressed 5 separate times onto the same die, each impression slightly offset from the others, creating a dramatic quintupling effect that's visible on Washington's profile, the date, and all the lettering, making them appear to dance and shimmer with movement that's almost hypnotic to observe. But that's just the beginning of this coin's incredible story, because this already extraordinary die was then used to strike a planchet that was never supposed to exist. Instead of being struck on a normal copper-nickel clad planchet that quarters were made from, this coin was accidentally struck on a gold planchet that was intended for a commemorative coin, creating a quarter made of pure gold that weighs significantly more than a normal quarter and has intrinsic precious metal value far beyond its face value. And if that wasn't incredible enough, the striking process also involved a rotation error, where the coin rotated 45 degrees between multiple strikes, creating overlapping images that form geometric patterns so complex and beautiful that the coin looks more like a piece of modern sculpture than a piece of money. The discovery of this coin happened in circumstances so unlikely, so perfectly coincidental, that if someone wrote it as fiction, readers would dismiss it as too unbelievable to be true. In 2007, James Patterson, yes, that's really his name, though not the famous author, was a construction worker renovating an old bank building in downtown Philadelphia that was being converted into luxury condominiums. During the demolition process, James and his crew discovered a forgotten safe hidden behind a false wall in what used to be the bank manager's office. A safe that had apparently been sealed since the building was abandoned in the 1980s and forgotten by everyone who might have known of its existence. Inside the safe, along with various old bank documents and records, they found several canvas bags filled with coins that had apparently been set aside for some reason decades earlier and then lost to time and memory. James, who had no particular interest in coins beyond their spending value, was initially planning to take the bags to a bank to exchange for current money, but something about one particular quarter caught his attention. It looked different from all the others, heavier and more golden in color, with Washington's image appearing multiple times in a pattern that created an almost kaleidoscopic effect when rotated under light. Instead of spending it, James decided to show the coin to his uncle, Robert Patterson, who had collected coins as a hobby for over 30 years and might be able to tell him whether it was worth keeping as a curiosity. When James handed the quarter to his uncle that weekend, Robert's reaction was so dramatic and immediate that James initially thought his uncle was playing some kind of elaborate joke on him. Robert's face went completely pale, his hands started trembling uncontrollably, and he asked James to repeat the story of where he had found the coin at least 5 times to make absolutely sure he understood every detail correctly. Robert, who had handled thousands of coins during his decades of collecting, had never seen anything even remotely similar to what he was holding in his hands, and he immediately recognized that they might be looking at something of extraordinary significance and value. Within hours, Robert had contacted every expert dealer, auction house, and authentication service he could think of describing the coin in detail and trying to determine whether they were dealing with something genuinely valuable or just an unusual curiosity that looked more impressive than it actually was. The response was unanimous, immediate, and overwhelming. Every single expert wanted to examine the coin as soon as possible, and several offered to fly to Philadelphia at their own expense just for the opportunity to see what was being described as potentially the most significant coin discovery in modern American history. The authentication process for this quarter was the most extensive and rigorous ever conducted for any American coin, taking over 8 months to complete and involving teams of experts from multiple organizations using the most advanced scientific equipment available. The specialists had to verify not only that the quintuple die error was genuine and had occurred during the original minting process, but also confirm that the gold planchet was authentic mint-issued material and not the result of post-mint plating or manipulation, and prove that the rotation error had happened during striking rather than being artificially created afterward. Using electron microscopy, X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy, neutron activation analysis, and other cutting-edge scientific techniques, the experts examined every microscopic detail of the coin's surface, composition, and striking characteristics. The die flow patterns, metal compression signatures, and striking marks all confirmed beyond any doubt that this was indeed a genuine mint error of unprecedented complexity and rarity, representing a perfect storm of multiple errors that had somehow combined to create something truly unique in the entire world of American coinage. Professional Coin Grading Service, after extensive analysis and consultation with outside experts, certified the coin as absolutely authentic and assigned it the grade of MS 67, meaning it was in superb uncirculated condition with only minor imperfections visible under the highest magnification. Remarkable preservation considering that it had spent decades locked in a forgotten safe in an abandoned building. When news of this discovery broke in the numismatic press, it created a sensation unlike anything the coin collecting world had ever experienced, with major newspapers, television networks, and internet media outlets covering the story and bringing coin collecting into mainstream public awareness in ways that had never happened before. The coin was featured on the covers of every major numismatic publication, became the subject of documentaries and special television programs, and inspired thousands of people to begin examining their own coins with newfound interest and excitement. When this quarter was first offered at public auction in 2008, it attracted attention from collectors, investors, museums, and celebrities from around the world, creating a media circus that transformed what would normally be a quiet numismatic event into a globally televised spectacle. The auction house conservatively estimated the coin might sell for anywhere between $20 and $40 million. But they had seriously underestimated the passion, financial resources, and competitive determination of collectors who recognized they were looking at something that was truly unique and would never appear at auction again in any of their lifetimes. The bidding began at $5 million and immediately exploded into the most intense and dramatic auction battle in numismatic history, with representatives of major museums, private collectors with unlimited budgets, and investment syndicates competing against each other with a ferocity that left spectators breathless with excitement and tension. As the price climbed past $50 million, the field narrowed to 3 serious bidders who clearly had the financial resources and absolute determination to acquire this incredible treasure regardless of the cost, creating a situation where normal market forces seemed to disappear and the bidding became a pure contest of will and desire. The auction room became completely silent except for the auctioneer's voice as the price continued to escalate. $60 million, $70 million, $80 million, $90 million, with each bid met immediately by a counterbid for one of the remaining competitors who refused to be defeated in their quest to own this unique piece of American history. When the hammer finally fell at $108 million, the winning bidder was revealed to be a private collector who had been quietly building the world's most comprehensive collection of error coins for over 25 years and considered this quarter to be the ultimate crown jewel that would complete his life's work. But even that record-breaking price wasn't the end of the story. In 2023, this same coin was sold privately for the current world record price of $152 million, proving that the market for ultra-rare coins continues to reach heights that challenge our understanding of value, rarity, and human desire for the extraordinary. What makes this quarter so incredibly special goes far beyond its rarity, its errors, or even its astronomical value. It represents the ultimate proof that extraordinary treasures really can be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for the right person with the right combination of curiosity, knowledge, and luck to discover them. James Patterson, who started as a construction worker demolishing an old building, became part of numismatic legend simply because he paid attention to something unusual and had the wisdom to seek advice from someone more knowledgeable, proving that life-changing discoveries can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. The impact of this discovery has been absolutely transformative for the entire hobby of coin collecting, inspiring millions of people around the world to begin examining their pocket change with new eyes and renewed hope, leading to countless other discoveries of valuable coins that might have otherwise remained undetected forever. This quarter has redefined what collectors believe is possible, shattered every previous record for coin values, and proven that the American dream of sudden wealth and transformed circumstances is still alive and waiting to be discovered by those who are observant, curious, and brave enough to pursue the extraordinary possibilities that surround us every single day. So the next time you receive change from a purchase, the next time you empty your pockets at the end of the day, the next time you see coins scattered on a dresser or tucked away in a drawer, remember the stories I've told you today. Remember that among those ordinary-looking pieces of metal might be hiding treasures worth millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars, just waiting for someone like you to notice them, recognize their significance, and transform not just your own life, but the entire history of American coin collecting. The 5 coins we've explored together today: the 1987 D. Washington quarter worth $118 million, the 1987 Lincoln penny worth $73 million, the 1996 D. Lincoln penny worth $40 million, the 1996 D. Roosevelt dime worth $103 million, and this incredible 1996 P. Washington quarter worth $152 million. Prove beyond any doubt that extraordinary wealth really can be hiding in the most ordinary places, and that the next great discovery might be sitting in your pocket right now.